will talk about security from the investor standpoint, from the money standpoint. As I was introduced, I'm the advisor to the president of Skolkovo Foundation, Mr. Vekselberg. But also in the past 3 years, I have been in 59 Russian cities. So I know something about Russia from the Russian startup standpoint. First, I want to tell you about, this is not like that the two Finns, Mikko and Pekka, is having show here. But I want to tell you about one story about security. So first of all, my personal relation towards security is such that I have had everything in my laptop, everything, since 1991. And I have taken an approach that if somebody steals the information from me, it is never anything illegal. It's just embarrassing. So it's mostly embarrassing. Because, you see, I'm working for Russian government, I'm a Finn, I'm a Finnish taxpayer, I have a companies in 7 countries, and I'm all digital. So I have come to the conclusion that, okay, I have to have all the passwords and all the codes in my heads, and actually I've said in many seminars that in this wallet I have all those codes, and then the rest is in my head. And because Finland is a very digital country, if you get those codes, you can divorce on behalf of me, or you can get me divorced, you can sell my property, you can shut down my electricity at home. I have built a church, I built an Orthodox church in Finland to my wife as a birthday present. You can even open the curtains of the iconostas digitally. So Mikko thinks that I'm the real risk for the whole environment. But I'm all digital guy. I tell you also another story. I'm a helicopter pilot as a hobby. I've been flying 12 years with the helicopter. And I was testing a Eurocopter 145 in Toulouse about a year ago. And just imagine this security issue. So I'm sitting in a helicopter. It's over top of the Mediterranean. It's clouds, so we are doing IFR. And the whole, this Airbus helicopter, Eurocopter, is like a robot. It's a big computer. And suddenly, there is a blue screen. So you are flying with the helicopter, it's like a piece of 20 million euros. You have an instructor. You have an instructor from Eurocopter. I am flying as a Finski kony there. Everything is smooth, and then comes a blue screen. Boom, boom, boom. And then the instructor said that, Mr. Vильякайнен, we have a problem. And there is only one analog measurement, which is the height and the position. And when you are in the fog, you can only trust on those measures. No, that was not caused by the hackers. That is the official statement by the Eurocopter. It was a pilot version, it was a beta version. But I can tell you that the scenario what Mikko was describing, for example, for the aviation or cars or whatever, that accident really get me thinking about this whole story. Okay, but today I'm here as an investor, and I'm also investing my own money, but also some help for Mr. Vekselberg and some other things. And I just want to tell you why I came to Russia. I came to Russia because there is an unbelievable talent pool in Russia. Yes, my wife is a Russian, yes, my kids are half Russian, but actually the real reason is that I came here because of the engineering capacity of this country. Unfortunately, in past 4 years, if I compare IT or cybersecurity or heavy IT in general, the number of those startups what I have seen is less than I expected. I know that there are a lot of good ideas, I know that there is a lot of engineers, there are a lot of patents, there are a lot of things which are kind of hidden to your laptop somewhere. But our job as a Skolkovo Foundation is to find those. I know that we cannot find all those today, but we will continue our work to find it. But that's why I don't believe so much of oil and gas. and I'm not saying because oil price is low, but I truly believe on the talent pool of this country. Because I'm talking about the investments, I have a few investment principles. And I made this paper to deal with my strict Russian wife, Nastya, because Nastya is worried that I will invest all our money to the crazy startuppers. So I had to make a management meeting at home. I invited kids, our cat Yermak, and others there, and we made this one slide. So we will invest maximum 20% of our wealth, maximum 20% of our wealth to the risky businesses like startups. Our investment horizon is 3 to 7 years. And why? Because we believe that small companies can innovate faster than the big ones, and we believe that big ones are getting so slow that they are starting purchasing small companies fast. Let's be brutal. Big companies are slow, and big nations are slow, but that's why I believe that it would be a good business to invest to the startups, and I will tell you shortly what do I think is the good startup. And I don't see so much of competition between Russia or Finland or Russia and Germany and so forth. Honestly speaking, I honestly believe that this is a one market area. Northern Europe is one market area. I think that the competition is more between USA, Asia and Europe, and I believe that Russia belongs to the Europe. I'm not a politician. I don't do any political statements. I just believe that we should more team up to make things more in Europe. Okay, I think in Russia, the misuse of innovation, there is a clear misuse of word innovation. It's also a Russian translation. People are talking innovative businesses, innovative startups. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that in many events in Russia, I have seen IT startupper or even security area startupper who comes to me saying that Mr. Viliakainen, Господин Pekushka, I have just a business, but I don't have any patent. And I said that I'm investing always to the businesses, not to the patents. And this is something why I want to say this, that somehow people are thinking that if you need to have something totally unique, that you would like to win the Nobel Prize. Well, I don't invest on Nobel Prizes. I invest on businesses. And that's why I want to encourage everybody who is investing on the startups or in cyber technology to think about the business application. Yes, you need to have some applied research. Yes, you might be based on some science, but still from the investment standpoint, I always invest on the companies, not for projects, not for Nobel Prize, not for kind of ideas. And there, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many early stage startups we have had here today. I want to emphasize that investors want to invest to the companies. It can be very small company, but it's something which generates money or is planning to generate money. And our job is to make, as a Skolkovo, the environment such. My selection criteria are very simple. And I personally invest to the businesses which has a true client orientation. In other words, no laboratory innovations only. And what I mean by that is that if the innovation is business to business, if your security innovation or cyber innovation to business, you should have already some discussion at least with some IT integrator or an enterprise client. If you don't have any ideas how the enterprise client even look like, it's unlikely that your innovation fits perfectly to that company. Same applies for business to consumer innovations, what Mikko was referring in that home secure network thing. I could believe that F-Secure has tested it quite heavily in many homes, not only in Mikko's home or not only Risto's home, but many other homes to see how it flies. And believe me, this first number one is surprisingly important for many investors. So typically when I see a presentation from a startup anywhere in the world, but especially in Russia, people start by telling, this is my innovation, this is perhaps the patent, this is the technical algorithm, and so forth. But not a single word about with whom you tested it. And that is bad. I understand that people are afraid that somebody will steal the idea. This is embedded to everybody, that somebody will steal the idea. But when you talk with an investor, if you want to get a high valuation for your company, you have to have this number one. Number two, it is absolutely needed, I would call a balanced set of competencies. So there are too many companies which is meant with the super genius engineers, but not a single business person, not a single who has ever been a leading anybody else, or nobody who knows something about the global market. So many times, and I have checked personally, my investment company has checked personally like 400 companies in 2 years. Many times, even if this is okay, and the innovation is okay, everything stops here. And the last point, or this next point is as relevant. It might be that you don't have all these in your company yet, but you should have a plan. How do you make it happen? The worst scenario for an investor is that, for example, you want to have money from me, you have a good idea, you have a good energy, and then I tell you that I'm an angel investor. I don't look like an angel, but I'm an angel investor. I am willing to give you money, but you have to find somebody to your team who understands something about the business logic, perhaps something about the global markets. And you replied to me that, Pekka, niet, absolutely niet. I don't want that. I don't need it. Then it's absolutely stop for all the discussions. And there are surprisingly many such cases. Why? Because people are afraid. You rather hire your brother, your mother, your cousin, whomever, than any outsider to the team. And I can easily make a joke about it because Mikko and I, we are from Finland, and historically we have the same problem. We only talk with Finns in sauna, that's it. With some alcohol. We don't even talk without any beer. We are shy. We are sitting silent in the sauna. We are Finns. That has been a problem for our culture also in the history. And I think that when our Nokia went to the trouble, our Nokia mobile phones part, it was a heaven for Finland because it released tens of thousands engineers. In startup world, no, well, you have oil. Now, if oil price would be $200, there would be no so interesting about entrepreneurship. Why to bother? It's a problem. But now when it's $30 soon, people get more and more interested about entrepreneurship. That is your safe haven, believe me, ladies and gentlemen. This is not my official government statement, by the way. This is my personal opinion, so don't quote me directly. And then the last one. If you want to get money from an investor, you have to have an international benchmarking in all aspects. Features of your product, roadmap of your product, competition, and the price. I don't understand a company who doesn't even Google or use Yandex, Why the hell you come to ask money from me? And I'm using you as an example. You are not the bad guy. I just use you an example. That you say that, Pekka, my innovation is best. I'm a proud Russian or proud Finn. It's better than all the others. And I said, how do you know? Because I'm a proud Finn or a proud Russian. That's ultimate stupidity. So, I was asked to talk about where do I invest money. To summarize, firstly, I invest maximum 20% of my money, or Nastya will kill me. I just, by the way, exited one company and I got my money 27 times back, so I have now roof. I am a good husband now. Otherwise, she will buy shoes with that money. I have to invest to new companies, some high-heel shoes. So, but honestly speaking, these three are important. And this is not rocket science. But believe me, many investors are respecting these three elements. This was my presentation. I invest to the Russian startups because I believe on your knowledge assets. And I believe only, the last one was missing in the slide, if your aim is to be best in the market, global market. Russia is a big country. I have been in all 10 time zones. But it's only 2% of the world economy. And I want that if you have an idea, and if I invest on you, that you try to capture the rest 98% of the world. I'm not interested if you are the most beautiful boy or girl in Moscow or in Russian Federation. I don't care a shit about if you have got all kind of medals only for Russia. But if your aim is to use the knowledge and the education what you have to do something for the rest of the world, I'm truly interested. Thank you. Спасибо.
Большое спасибо, Пекка, за интересную презентацию. Коллеги, у нас есть возможность задать буквально 2 вопроса спикеру. Прошу.
Hello, my name is Andrei. Thanks for this beautiful presentation. And I think it's true that in Russia there are lots of people with engineering mindset and good knowledge and so on. And I think that some of them do really need some kind of advice or some kind of source of information they can use to understand how they can apply this. Can you recommend some kind of maybe internet sites, literature, or other ways that shows the vision for the most demanding technology or for the most interesting things that could be sold on the market and they can apply and try to think of how they can apply their knowledge? Thanks.
The short answer is niet. Because I don't believe, first of all, you cannot learn entrepreneurship by reading a book or checking a website. So short answer is I cannot. But what I strongly encourage people to do is to be more active members of the entrepreneurship society. And it's not like an association. I'm talking voluntary. That's why, for example, we organized this Cyber Day. That you would not only listen boring talks from Mikko and me and some others, but you would talk with the people who are in this room. And that is the whole idea of Skolkovo Foundation. Our Skolkovo Foundation was not established to give grant funding. We are not like spreading money organization. Our aim is to make sure that guys like you would be connected with the guys like you or girl like that in your area of expertise, to being part of the cluster, so to say. So I think, for example, in Finland, you know, we have this Slush event and Startup Sauna, and that the whole story of that Startup Sauna association, which is now 50,000 people, is just to share mistakes and some success with others. And you cannot learn entrepreneurship from the university, unfortunately. So that's why to be active member on any of this kind of society, that is something which is definitely helping you. Then the next answer to your question is that Russian startups are too little connected to each other. Because I can see that many of the startups should benefit if they would think about that. If you have the same idea in Moscow and you know that in Tomsk there are guys who are doing pretty much the same, at least to have an interaction. Okay, they are strangers, they are in Siberia and so forth, I know it, and then Tomsk guys are afraid that arrogant bastard from Moskowitz will come and steal the idea and so forth. But you should build such a network, honestly. Without that, the learning will not happen. Believe me, it's so simple. Yeah. Any other question? I have time for one more. So.
Yeah. Hello. My name is Alexander, and I'm willing to ask you about the criteria. You've told about 4 criteria, and I'm willing to ask if you are helping with solving questions with them. In terms of, let me say, it would be a B2C startup, yeah? And you as a customer, and you know everybody else as a customers, you believe in this idea. You think, yes, it's really great, I will definitely use it. Not maybe, definitely use it. Would you help with all the criteria to solve them and help with, I don't know, finding some companies who will do the research and something like this, help with NDAs and something, and all the questions, if you really believe in this, as a business angel, of course?
The answer is that, so I have invested to the 7 Russian startups. And for all of those companies where I have invested, we have been doing it precisely you said. We have tried to find, we have built European Union office, for example, so they can get an access to the, for example, Finnish market or German market. We have tried to find the pilot clients and so forth. We have tried to find the networks outside of the Russian. However, this business angel is not the miracle, it's not the magician. Business angel are not like that, we just invent something. So that's why what I'm saying is that if the person doesn't have own idea, and you are all the time afraid of everything, this dialogue doesn't work. So you should have some basic information, you should have some basic, and business angel is not running the business. The entrepreneur is running the business. Business angel is just helping. And that's why your question is very relevant. It's very relevant because sometimes people think that you come to the business angel, it's like a meeting with the God who solves all the issues, gives money and buys you a Porsche Cayenne and finds you a client and so forth. That's not the business angel. It's just an angel, not the God.
Okay, and the continuing of this question is, would you invest, I don't know, in technology or in a product in a project which could be then bought by a huge company which is the leader in the market of information security?
What is this, a question or a joke?
The idea is about the technology project, not the product.
Yeah.
Would you invest in technology but not the product?
Indeed, of course. This is just, I think it's a semantic discussion because, yeah, technology can also be the product, of course, if we can see the direct connection to some other product. Yeah, absolutely yes, absolutely yes. Of course, from the business angel standpoint, it's very difficult if it's a very highly technical product or technology. If it's very technical technology, for example, an algorithm or some higher level of mathematics, it's a very, for example, I am just a stupid Finn, Finski coin. I cannot analyze it if the reader, I have 20 advisors, but if we don't know it precisely that area, it's very difficult for us to analyze. That's why we try to syndicate. We try to syndicate with some other investors who know the specific. Products are easier. Products are easier because then you can test it in some client markets. You can test it abroad. I give you an example. We invested in a robotics company, which is doing educational robots, a Russian company. What we did was, we took those robots, we hired 5 schools in Finland and in Sweden. We gave them those robots, and we said to the teachers, we paid teachers some money, and we said, does it make sense? So we hired 5 schools to test those robots. And when we got that, okay, this is good, this sucks, this is bad, this is very good, we are quite clear what needs to be done. And if we have a very complex technology, that is impossible to do. And that makes it somewhat more difficult to think how valuable the innovation is. Okay, thank you, good luck.